All right. So today I have Thomas Däubler on the podcast, and I am super excited to have him here. He is the CEO of MCD Electronics, and today we're going to dig into how he's approaching coming in. MCD is a founder-led company, or was a founder-led company for 40 years, and actually coming in as a new CEO, and like having the primary goal of figuring out how do we also grow the business from here, looking at all the things that is working and has been working, and then considering and deciding what do we keep working on and what what new initiatives do we need to work on. Yeah, I think that's probably the quick intro that I'm gonna give, because I think you will be able to give a better quick description of MCD and exactly what you guys do.
Yeah. Frederik, thanks a lot for having me on the podcast. And basically, you already mentioned everything that I'm doing at MCD in my role as a CEO. Yeah, what is MCD doing? We are basically, yes, we are a company established for more than 40 years ago. And for the past 40 years, we've done test systems, inspection systems, automation for the electronics industry, electronics assemblies. And we've done this on a wide range of industries, with the main focus being on the automotive sector, simply because they have this high demand in technology, and we pride ourselves of really setting technological benchmarks at certain points. Yeah. So they have this high level of technology that they require. They have this high demand on quality, on mass production, and this all combined basically fits perfect to the situation that you need to provide testing in order to ensure that you have this constant level of quality. You have this, you can verify that everything is functioning, and you can meet the demand of, we not only do it once or twice a day, we do it in 100,000s. So
It's quite interesting.
That's what we are doing at MCD. And yes, as you said, the company was founded by the owner, and he retired 2024, and this is when I came in to take over as a CEO and preserve what was running and what is running well, and identify areas where the company can make the next step. Yeah, MCD has always changed. Yeah, as just looking at, I mentioned automotive industry as a strong foundation. If you think of cars 40 years ago, they were significantly different. Yeah, so we were testing electronics, you were testing wires. Now you're testing vision systems, you're testing communication, completely different. Yeah, and this is MCD changed, developed, grew with these demands. Yeah, and now is the point. Okay, what's next?
What was the things that you found to be like working well already, that was like the pillars that you felt like the business, or feel like the business is sort of built upon, and also maybe grown, like the primary ways that it had, like you had success with actually growing the business, in the past?
So I think a very important aspect, and I would call it the main pillar for MCD, is the technological expertise. Yeah, because we are operating in a very specific field, and we need to have a high level of technological expertise. Not only if you say electronics testing, everybody might think of, okay, so I need a bunch of electronics engineers that know what they are doing. Well, actually, it's more than that. Yeah, because with the thing that industry developed, you need mechanical design capabilities, mechanical engineers that can shape your system exactly to what the customer is demanding. Yeah. You need the technological development. It's now testing communication protocols and things. So what you need is software engineers, you need hardware engineers, you need automation. And what I found when I joined the company, and which definitely was is a big asset and made me confident that we can conduct this path to growth, is that this technological expertise in all the different sectors is extremely strong. And the important thing to is everybody I've been talking to in the company, say the first half a year, I was just talking to people, and everybody had this genuine curiosity for new things. So the thing that often happens, you come into a company, they are at a very high technological level, you start talking to them, and then you hear this phrase of, yeah, well, this is something we've been always doing like this. And I was really super relieved that I never heard this sentence at MCD. Yeah, that it was always, well, we need to see what the requirements is. We know that we have changing specifications, yeah, and we need to see how we can develop something. This curiosity and this I would even call it an urge to innovation, yeah, to do something new, yeah. And this was definitely, if you ask what's the foundation, this is a strong pillar, and this is definitely what we have at MCD and what enables us to look forward.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like that in most industries. Like almost no matter what you're selling, it's like the ones that can actually even just stay in business for that long are also the one, like, I guess, unless you're a restaurant or something like that. But if you are, in the technology sector or any kind of like B2B sector almost, you have to just like develop. And if you're not willing to that, and if you don't have a relatively open mind towards actually developing and like a curiosity to also want to develop, I feel like you're just left behind.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it definitely, I think you can stay in business if you say, okay, we have our standard set of things, how we do things, customizing it, moving forward, setting benchmarks really requires that you say, well, I want to do things different. Of course, it might be some kind of a challenge if you have a bunch of people that want to do new things, to tell them, well, in some cases you just need to replicate.
Yeah, exactly. I guess there's a balance in everything.
Yeah.
What were the other pillars that you feel like have been foundational in growing the company?
Well, I think so. It's the technological expertise. It's the access, the long history of automotive experience, which somehow I would say working in the automotive environment, is really, it's not the easiest environment to work in. Yeah, it's technologically demanding. It's demanding in terms of quality, of flexibility, of listening to the customer, and this is definitely something which is now a good foundation of what we are conducting, that people were used, they were used to, or everybody is used to work in this challenging, demanding environment, to listen to the customers or to the partners. And so the one thing that we are conducting at the moment is that we basically say, we have this name, this being known in the automotive industry. Let's use this and complement our business with looking at other industries that have similar technological demands that might be at the point where they are, for example, not yet in the stage that they need to do this high volume production like they do in automotive, but they see the growth there. And important is it's the same technology or it's similar technology. So we stay close to what we've been doing. It's a different industry sector. You need to listen carefully to understand the differences and what's in common, and not start off with, okay, we know everything and the recipe that we've been developing for 40 years works. No, you need to listen. And if you think of, we are having discussions in the medical environment. There is a different way of doing things, and you need to understand this, and you need to develop an answer to it to make the customer confident.
So that's sort of one of the opportunities that you came across of, like, this would be a good strategy for actually also opening up the opportunities for like growing the business further. Was that also because the like automotive industry that you felt like it was almost a bit saturated already in Germany, or is it just that, like, what was the like decision making behind it?
I would say the decision making was based on I think the difference between me coming into the company and honestly having virtually close to zero automotive background, and the owner of the company living for 40 years in this environment. Yeah. So for me, it was, I would call it the simple MBA 101 lesson. If you have a mid-sized company like MCD and you have high dependency on one industry sector, you're exposed to any cycles that this industry sector is going through.
So it's also a question of diversification.
It was basically diversification, but not in the sense diversification. We don't want to do what we've been doing. Honestly, we are doing the same business in the automotive, than we did before, and we heavily work on growing our automotive business, but the diversification is complementing this area with other industries. Yeah, if you think of, I mentioned today in the car environment, and then if you take, we've built test systems for antennas, for communications, for everything. So having this expertise, why not do the switch and use it, for example, in a smart home environment where my heating system is communicating with a server and I can control it from my cell phone, and I need to fulfill the same communication protocols. I have the same technological challenges. Why not do this? And this is exactly what we are driving. See, where can we use our technological expertise? Of course, the challenge that comes to it is we are known in the automotive sector. We are a small 50, 60 employee company for all the other sectors, and we need to work on this market access there. Yeah.
What's the strategies for actually working on that and breaking into those markets, and maybe even for like how do you approach that, actually getting in and I guess getting the first discussions and figuring out, is it even an industry where we can really solve that problem?
So one approach, and this is something, yes, it might sound generic, but yes, you need to do a market research. And then the good thing is that with the long year expertise, there were individual from time to time projects that were outside automotive, which actually we use this as the starting point. Say, okay, we've already done a project in critical communication. We've done a project for smart home. We've done a project for energy management things. Look at this customer, talk to the customer to really understand if there is a general demand in this type of industry, and then work with this customer to grow within the customer, and then get known to the industry. It's definitely it's not something that you turn around and say, okay, decided today to do it, and tomorrow I have the business. It's more like a midterm strategy, establishing that we are used there. We are lucky that, say, our marketing is pretty creative in finding ways to address these sectors, and this is one way. And then sometimes we even try to work it that way. There's like, okay, if we go outside of Germany or Europe, perhaps we can make contact there and get this, I call it, get verified use cases that you basically can use and say, listen, we have solved problems, that we have solved challenges that you have and where you might need an answer to, and then makes it easier to have this discussion.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's actually it's fun. Like it's one of our go-to strategies. Like when we bring on new clients, also for ourselves, is any time that we have a new client in a new industry where it's working well. It's like we call them lookalike campaigns. So essentially, we just find as many as tightly fit companies that look alike that customer or company that we've worked with in the past, or our client has worked with in the past, or is currently working with. And then we do like segmented campaigns for each of them where the messaging is just super specific. It works extremely well if it's a company that, the company that you're reaching out to likely also knows, but it also just works well if they can just tell from the wording that, this is a company exactly like my company. And that's it just comes down to relevancy. It's like the more relevant it feels to you, and the more it feels like, they've already solved this problem, and they already, know what you're facing, and they already have a solution for it. And if it's even like a competitor that they sort of look towards, then it works wonders to also do.
It makes life much easier. I think the important thing that you mentioned is you somehow it's essentially doing a competitor analysis of your customers. Yeah. You do the competitor analysis. You know, okay, what are the 5 largest competitors, and you try to do a focused campaign towards them. And as you have the use case experience, I think that the important thing to increase the relevancy is know the wording that you need to use to prove that you have a competencies, that you know what you're talking about. And then yes, that's it.
So you're primarily, your customer base is primarily in Germany as of today, but you have manufacturing, or they have manufacturing plants all over the world, as far as I remember.
Yeah. The thing is, if you would ask me for a company pitch, I would say, well, MCD, our test systems are present in more than 60 countries worldwide. Yeah. And they range from southern Patagonia to northern China. Yeah. So the thing is, looking at the companies that are behind it, very many of them are within Germany, within Europe. Yeah. It's the large automotive tier 1, tier 2 suppliers that have worldwide manufacturing places. And in the past, decisions used to be taken by the headquarters. So if you had a first system installation at the main site, you were known to the headquarters, you had the discussions there, and then it was spreading out worldwide. Yeah. And this is perhaps a transition that we are seeing, that in especially in the automotive, the manufacturing sites, I would say they become more mature. Decisions are taken locally, and so the approach to the customer needs to change. And of course, if you look outside of automotive, it's anyhow that we want to spread it. So, because you were asking customer base, mainly Germany, and since long time, Eastern Europe is a big automotive manufacturing area. There is a lot of customers there, but we are active in the process of trying to diversify this also and move out to other regions. Yeah.
Who are the decision makers? I imagine that, probably depends on the size of the company as well. Is it like quality managers?
It's quality engineering, and then also really basically the plant managers, the production side. Because if it comes down to the thing, quality needs to be at the level that expected, and the output needs to be at the level expected. So you have also basically really a strong input and strong decision by the production side, because you can develop the most sophisticated test system. If it doesn't meet the cycle times and you screw up on output, it's going to be no way that this will end up in production. So these are basically decision makers on the customer side. And as I said, it used to be that it still depends on the size of the project. It still depends on the size of the company, but more and more decisions are taken locally. Yeah, might also be because there is
plant.
Might also be because there is this trend towards localization of the supply chain. Yeah, which makes sense, or is something that can be done in many places. If you think of a very specific customized test system, I think you're not going to find a manufacturer in every country, in every area, in every region. Yeah. So,
is it like, how do you know if they have, when, let's say, you wanted to reach out and get a meeting with the plant manager at a company where you've had success, or you've made test systems for one of their competitors in the past. Like, how does the implementation work on their end? Is it something that increases the efficiency on their end because they can more efficiently test, if the output is constantly like meeting, or is it like a cost savings kind of product, or how does that actually work? Like, what's the end benefit for them?
Well, I think it's two aspects to it. Yeah. So one benefit is definitely you do the testing if you know that in subsequent processes you do such a significant value add that you don't want this to be put at risk because this one part that you didn't test might not work. Yeah. So if there is significant value added after having a small electronics assembly being put into whatever environment, then you test it to make sure I'm not at risk. Yeah. Or if it's safety relevant.
Yeah.
If it's safety relevant and you need to ensure that this is 100% functional, you do the testing. And in both cases, it's basically breaking down in, yes, at one thing, it's a direct cost saving because you sort out non-functional parts and you only continue your manufacturing with the functional parts. In the others, it's a cost saving because you avoid the risk of having high payments to make because of safety issues. And in both cases, it's you need to do the testing, you need to meet the cycle times, and you need to do the documentation. So every single part being tested is documented that it's tested okay.
Do you typically come in and they don't, because I would imagine they already have some sort of way that they test it already, or do you typically come in and it's actually like you're solving the problem in the sense that they don't have a way of solving the problem already, or they don't have a test system implemented already, or are you typically rolled out on like new product lines or new manufacturing lines where it's then implemented into those new processes?
So I think it's actually both aspects to it. Yeah, the one aspect is typically when do you commit on a test system? It's when you build the manufacturing line. Yeah, so it's, as you said, it's new manufacturing lines, it's expansion of manufacturing lines. Might also be that you have certain stages in manufacturing that can cope with a higher throughput, and testing, programming might take longer. So you're duplicating stations. This is where we come in to build things. Do we build them from scratch with, okay, customers coming and say, listen, I need to test something, provide something? No, we are getting test specifications, and these test specifications, they very often originate from the stage before development, prototypes, pilot line setups, where it was identified this and this and this and this needs to be tested. It's also identified it needs to be tested in this or the other way. And then customer is coming to us, giving this as a specification. Typically what we do is then really discuss on, okay, where are the things where which are the things that really need to be exactly that way, and where are the things where we have a room for discussion in order to also do an optimization towards reuse of components, building in things that might allow for a change in future. Yeah. So thinking about automotive, you have the facelift cycles, thinking of, okay, can it be reused in order to reduce the total cost of ownership? If you think about the complete life cycle of a production of a testing line. Yeah. And this is actually, yes, where what comes in there, where we discuss certain points are, yes, it's defined that it needs to be this and this and this test system because it's validated that it works and verified, and we don't want to move away from it. In other fields, we can propose concepts that we consider smart and might be helpful.
So it is oftentimes as well like new product lines or where they've already found
or it's also, say, because we've been talking about change. So one thing that we really see as a change also with somehow starting activities in adjacent business sectors to where we typically are active. What we see is we come from an industry that is operating in a low mix of products and a high volume setup. Very often, if you go to other fields like the medical, this is changing. Yeah, you're suddenly in an environment where you have a high mix, low volume, and you need to find an answer to it. So thinking about how can what can we do? Can we use our expertise to combine it to a more compact test system that can be easily adapted to changes to the high mix situation, and perhaps move this from mass production to the pilot stage, to the development area. This is things that we are working on to find answers there and somehow lay the next foundation for, okay, we can address this demand, and we know the market that we are dealing with, that it's different from where we come from.
So is that the primary focus, or like what's the primary focus of yours over the next like 6 to 12 months in the
it's basically it's a set of I would call it set of equations. It's one thing is what we've been talking about, complement our business by looking into technologically close areas. The other step is doing a regional spread. So what, say, analysis that we've been doing the past months is looking into, okay, where do we see regions with a high growth? And for example, what we've identified is that this Middle East, North Africa region, from the aspect of automotive industry, but also from other industry like the home appliances, like the energy sector, is it's this MENA region is highly interesting. And this is where we are really conducting focused market research, market exploration, customer acquisition activities. And it's you mentioned it. What's the focus on 6 to 12 months? Yeah, this is the focus for 6 to 12 months, knowing that even looking in this air region, it's not a homogeneous region. Yeah, if you look at countries like Morocco and Tunisia, you have already established high volume production in certain areas there. If you look like regions like Saudi Arabia or some of the Emirates, this is just developing. Yeah. And so it's gonna be it's our focus, and it's gonna be something where we are working on, and we will see results in 12 plus months.
Yeah. Interesting. It's the location-based exploration and sector-based, so like industry-based, and finding and researching and figuring that out. Very interesting. Thanks a lot for joining. I found the conversation really interesting, and it sounds like you guys have some interesting work in front of you, and it sounds like you're also onto the right path. So absolutely best of luck with all of that, and thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me with you in the podcast. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I'm happy that I could share some of the things that we are working on, that are where we are thinking on, and if it's useful to others, I'm happy. And yes, thanks for your feedback that you're convinced it's the right path. So I look forward to the next part of our podcast in something like 12 to 24 months. Yeah. And then doing from this stage the review on, what's been
What
happening.
happened in the last 12 months. Yeah, that's always interesting. It's oftentimes not exactly what you laid out, but that's also what makes it very interesting to look back on. If anyone wanted to follow along or reach out, what would be the best place for them to do so?
Well, basically, check our website, send an email. I can provide you my personal email in the company, and they can just send me information, and then that's the best way. Yeah.
Amazing.
Or contact you, and you have my details. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks a lot for joining.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah.